Happy autumn equinox. I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in my work, so I'm going to keep making videos regardless of circumstances. So with that said, I wanted to let it flow and talk about reciprocity, especially since, yes, we have officially gone into the autumn equinox, and Venus, we're in the shadow period right before she goes retrograde, if she hasn't even gone retrograde yet. I don't remember the exact dates. I can look that up again and make sure I put it in some annotations or below the video. But Venus will be going retrograde, and I had watched this really, really good explanation by an astrologer a few days ago, Michael Lennox, I believe. Yeah, I really like his style, and he's just really blunt and down to earth and really funny about it. But he explains the Venus retrograde really well, and he explained all the masculine planets that went retrograde months back. So after I saw his video on that, I was like, I like this guy, and it resonates, so let me watch his Venus retrograde video. And he explains how she covers intimacy, love, reciprocity, money. And so I'm wondering if any of you are feeling any of that yet. We're in the shadow period, so yes, it is quite possible that you are already having emotions within you, feeling things and possibly experiencing right now that pertain to these themes. Before I get started, I wanted to show you something really beautiful. I was on my way back home walking, and I saw her on the ground, and I can tell she'll be passing soon. So I brought her back with me because I didn't want to leave her on the sidewalk. And I asked her if she'd like to come stay on my plant. There we go. Monarch butterfly. And it's so interesting because we're in 2018. I remember in 2015, when I started doing videos, I would go to my spot in nature, and I started making videos. Oh, hope you're okay there. And there were monarchs everywhere, and I remember like raving about them and telling you guys that I wish I could show you. And I was able to get a really, really good photo of a monarch. The wind is blowing her. Her fairy dust is rubbing off on me. I feel a little bit bad about that. I'm just trying to help her out, so I'm picking her up. Yeah, so in that video, I took a photo of a monarch. I wasn't able to get like an up-close footage. I can't remember, but it was either on how to attract authentic people into your life, and I think how to recognize ego and live from a place of bliss. Yeah, so I'm glad that I found her because it shows me seasons truly are changing. In nature we went from summer to autumn, and the planets, the alignments are constantly shifting, so yet we're now shifting into something else to feel, to move through, to expand, to grow, to experience. And yeah, and especially with this Venus retrograde, I feel like, and there's a lot of other stuff going on too, but with all these different alignments, it really brings forth a lot to be seen, a lot to be felt, transmuted. Wow. The wind in the trees. So, yes, seasons changing. So, I'm grateful that she caught my attention to confirm that and just show me, just confirm that further. But also, it's, can you hear that? That is, I'm not sure which bird that is. I see it flying, but I don't think it's a crow or anything. I'm not sure on the type of bird, but it's making itself known. So I feel like that's, what I'm saying is important. It's that, speaking about phases, I can tell that she's passing on from her life as a butterfly. They only have a certain amount of time to live, I guess you could say, and going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, and then they have this beautiful time to fly around and experience, and then they pass away. And that's really indicative of, what's going on. We have a phase ending, right? Summer ended. And also, a lot of things dying, quote unquote, dying. Things within us, or habits, phases, patterns, whatever it may be. But through healing processes, you have constantly phases of death. And also, it's indicative of what's currently going on in at least our lives, me and Ty's, where his uncle passed away, and we've been grieving, and it's been really sad, but an opportunity to feel. And also, with his uncle passing, it's really created this space for me to also grieve one of my best friends and cousin who died last year, on the summer solstice. I spoke of that in my videos last year, and I can link to that. I think it was literally at summer solstice, so I made like 3 videos. I was getting a bunch of transmissions, so I slammed 3 videos in one day to get it out as fast as I could. And so yeah, with his uncle passing, it's created this space, or at least for me to tap into this space within me where I didn't realize I still have sadness. I have emotions there from my friend passing away, and yeah, all kinds of emotions. Sadness, a bit of anger, frustration, um, even guilt, and just curiosity and all kinds of stuff. And, nostalgia, all kinds of feelings. And also remembering all the great times when he was alive in physical form, and the time that we spent, and appreciation. It brings up a lot of gratefulness. And through that, through grieving him and remembering, I was reflecting on our friendship and reflecting on his funeral service. And it also allowed me to reflect on Ty's uncle's funeral service. And there's a common thread. What I noticed, with these 2 beautiful souls passing on from their incarnation, is that at their service, you know what people spoke about? Got a nose itch. The one common thing that stood out is that people spoke about how these two individual people treated them. And that made me realize in an even deeper manner that what matters most is how a person treats others. What matters most is how you treat people around you, strangers, friends, family, everybody around you. You know, at Frankie's service, so many people cried, so many people spoke about how good of a friend he was. You know, and of course, when somebody passes, of course, somebody may not get up and like complain about a person, but it's very possible, right? I mean, what is it, Wolfgang? I mean, even in House MD, I know it's just a show. Spoiler alert, or maybe I shouldn't, because then I would spoil it for you. Never mind. Let me leave that out. I don't know. I don't know if anybody watches House MD, or maybe in the future you'll watch House MD, and I don't want to ruin it for you. So, anyways, people at Frankie's service spoke about how generous he was. He was such a kind person, such a giving person, and always there for you, always. And it wasn't a lie, it wasn't an exaggeration. I was one of the very, 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 very few that were actually close to him, you know, like actually close to him. And it's true. You know, we were buddies, man. We were there for one another. And he reciprocated. Reciprocity. It's just, you know, if I ever needed money, he was there. If, you know, I was low on money, but I was hungry, and he would just call me up and be like, hey, I'm going to take you out. Let's go have some brunch. You know, and vice versa. If he was ever feeling low, I'd be like, hey, cuz, I'm going to come get you, and we're going to go get some food. Or if he needed a ride, if I needed a ride, if we needed support, encouragement, you know, to guidance, just a person to talk to and vent to, all of that. And he truly was there. He was a friend, a true friend, and someone who reciprocated. And I specifically remember he and I used to talk about all that all the time, because we were so appalled at how natural people make it seem that, like, it's like there's so many people out here who want to call you their friend, or they consider themselves your friend, but they don't reciprocate. Sometimes they don't respect you, or respect your decisions, or your feelings, or your life path, your life choices. They'll call you, they'll say they're your friend, but they're not there when you need them, or they have excuses. And when I say excuses, I don't mean like, I mean, take that into consideration. I mean, literally, there's always some kind of excuse why they can't be there for you, whether it's something material, emotional, mental, whatever it is, you know, there would be an excuse. They wouldn't ever really be there for you. But if they needed something, you were one of the people they'd call, because of course they know that you are a giving person. You know, and that does happen a lot with Pisces people. He and I are Pisces. And empaths, people here to just anchor in healing energy, you know, so that tends to happen. So we would talk about that all the time, and talk about how much we appreciated one another, because we truly understood the values of friendship and reciprocity. And I noticed that was the very, very same thing that was talked about in Ty's uncle's funeral service, is that there were 2 or 3 people who spoke at the funeral service, but they all said that Sonny was such a gentle, kind, giving, generous person, a good friend, someone who's there, a loving person. And so I noticed that that is what leaves a mark on a person's heart, on their mind. You know, whether you treat them shitty or whether you treat them with kindness and love. And as you'll see, we're in the shadow period, but she'll be going retrograde soon, and then even after the retrograde, there's the shadow period again before she goes direct. And during this time, you might notice within your life that you might be reflecting on or noticing where there is reciprocity in your life or a lack of reciprocity, whether you're the one who's not reciprocating or maybe someone else is not reciprocating. I've noticed that in mine, even before I watched his video to understand the retrograde, I was feeling some things about some people in my life, and I've been reflecting on it for a bit now actually, but it became really strong the other day because I was thinking of Frankie and thinking of how wonderful a friend he is. And right now in this moment, I can, I said it in my other video about like soul fam, there really is just a handful. I can literally just count on one hand the people that I have in my life that are truly reciprocal, that truly are in resonance, where there's a resonance, there's a mutual respect, and this high regard, and this deeper understanding and understanding of one another's soul path, what we're working on, what our work is, what we're doing on an energetic level, and what we do in the physical world as in part of our work. The energetic work is part of the work too, but we all have things we're working on, our projects, you know what I mean, like little assignments and projects and things and dreams that have to do with why we came here. And there is a true reciprocity there. And what I can say is that you have to make sure you value that, value the people in your life that give to you as you give unto them, that reflect to you what you give to them, what you reflect to them. There's this mutual reflection going on of the beauty that you are. At the same time, still have gratitude and value the people who are a bit difficult and who do not resonate all the way or who do not reflect. Wolfgang, can you please stop? He's being a bit obnoxious today. So like I was saying, yeah, truly value those who do reciprocate and have this show you the beautiful person that you are, because the way they are treating you, that beauty is your true reflection. But also value those who are a bit difficult, who may not be reciprocating in the same way. And wow, I think we are getting an alarm for storms or tornado. Okay. Maybe I might need to make this quick and go inside to figure out what's going on. That's so interesting because each time I try to talk about the people that are difficult, something happens. Wolf became difficult, then this alarm outside that's distracting me. So, you know, pay attention to that. Pay attention to those around you who, if you pay attention, you'll know who truly sees you for who you really are. Not as who you may have been in the past or whatever, or false perceptions, but truly knows who you are. And I know for many of us who have been activated, awakened, and fully stepped onto our path, this has been one of the difficult things for us, that it's been hard for those around us, people who have known us before, to really accept the transformation that they see us go through. They find it hard to accept that this could really be us for many reasons, right? Because maybe you had certain habits that you entertained that was a reason why you had resonance with a certain person or people. But if you don't entertain those habits anymore, then what do you have left with this person, right? Unless they truly want to get to know you, or what you are working towards, or what you are seeking, who you are, your spiritual journey, then there's that opportunity to get to know you and to respect your choices. You may have family members who just think it's really funny. I mean, some of my family really just thought it was kind of funny. They crack jokes about it all the time, made these jokes, and I had to just ignore it. But it can seem like something really drastic. And so to them, who knows, maybe they just think you're going through a phase or whatever. Or maybe they just don't believe it, right? So there are colleagues, friends, whatever, there's going to be people around that maybe do not truly want to see who you really are. And that says a lot right there. And a lot of, that says things about their journey, where they're at and where you're at. And that'll show you that maybe there's a dissonance. There is no resonance there. And pay attention and see who respects you, regardless if they understand your choices or whatever. Maybe somebody may not have the same beliefs, they may not have the same choices, but that doesn't mean that we don't have to respect one another. It doesn't mean that we don't have to have a mutual respect and love. If you have a friend, a family member, a partner, whatever, we can still love one another, we can still respect one another, but just pay attention to see who respects you regardless. Pay attention to see who is reciprocating, who in your life does reciprocate, who reciprocates by expressing to you. Do you guys have the same, do you guys create this space where you can express to one another authentically? Do you and this other person reciprocate to one another in giving, in affection, whatever it may be? But is there reciprocity, or is there a lack of reciprocity? And how does that make you feel? And what can you work on? Is this a relationship, a friendship, whether it's family, friends, or romance? Is this a relationship that you have a space together where you can talk about it and figure out why there is a lack of reciprocity? Also, like I said, Venus is bringing up stuff about love and intimacy. So that actually does extend and is, part of the reciprocity. Maybe stuff about love and your relationship with your partner right now. Maybe there's some stuff coming up, or just in general, intimacy, whether that is, there's so many ways to be intimate, not just physically, but maybe it could have to do with sex, or it could just have to do with all the other ways that you are intimate with your partner. Maybe there's stuff about that coming up. And there's also stuff about money coming up, and I'm noticing that in my life as well. And so it's very, very, very interesting. And it freaked me out at first. I got really stressed out and I got really triggered. It brought up a lot of stuff from many years ago. We're in 2018, so this was more than 7 years ago. This was like 11 years ago. Somewhere around there, 10 or 11 years ago. I might be going back too far. Maybe 9. Whatever. It's been a while. So it's bringing up stuff from the past when I was younger, in college, and had gotten into a relationship that eventually I realized was abusive. And I've spoken about this before. I spoke about it in my one of my recent videos, the 12 a.m. thoughts on sexual abuse and stuff like that. I've spoken about it in the Chronicles, the Seva Chronicles, episode 3. And I may have spoken about it. I've spoken about it here or there and other stuff, but those are the 2 most recent videos. And there was a lot of financial turmoil because of I put trust into this person, and he was making very, very irresponsible choices and had unhealthy habits and an addiction and addictive personality. So his choices were rather impulsive and stuff like that. So it actually, at the time it affected us financially, but there's been repercussions afterwards. I'm no longer with him, but his choices affected my credit in the matrix, and a bunch of other stuff which I've had to really work through, and all the stuff, and it was bringing it all back up. It was bringing up all these emotions. It was bringing up memories. It was bringing up thoughts and then irritation and anger, which is very interesting because the full moon yesterday was in Aries, and we probably are still, the moon is probably still in Aries, and Aries is a fire sign, and it's masculine. It's about power and fire, and so with that there comes like this heat, this force, and I was feeling it. Let me tell you, I was feeling it. I was moody and irritated like crazy, and I was just so irritated at how this happened so long ago, and I want the past to be the past, and yet still in different ways I still have to deal with the relationship I had. So I was dealing with those emotions, and it kind of come into this space where I'm like, I'm so done with it. I'm done with this part of the past. It's the past. It's literally the past. and I shouldn't have to hold on to it anymore. I shouldn't have to carry it around. And then even in the physical world, I shouldn't have to deal with it anymore. So it really made me think about some things I want to do now to try, not even try, to make steps forward to take care of the what is left of the financial mess that he basically created. Um, what else? Yeah, I mean, that's it. The money thing. It brought up feelings about that, but also I'm looking at how in the present moment, how I am handling money and how I view money and how Ty and I handle our moments where we are worried about money, where we might be tight with money, which in this case right now, you know, with his uncle passing and stuff, we took off time so that we could grieve, but in doing so, it kind of set us behind a little bit financially. And so, you know, of course, the initial reaction is to freak out, right? You might freak out. But then there's parts of me going, everything is as it should be. And then I'm like, okay, how do I use my logic and my heart? How do I use my mind and my intuition together, right? And so I'm allowing myself to grieve. I'm allowing myself to also feel these emotions and energy. Really, it's just energy. The old energy come up so I can transmute it, clear it, right? And then also deal with the now. Be present in the present. And as I handle it moment to moment, day to day, I realize it's not the past. That the past is not here now. You know what I mean? And that I can make better choices. Me and Ty can make choices from a higher vibration and having faith, and also in each choice and how we have to handle our financial situation or whatever, to make choices and come from a place of being open-minded and in a state of faith, hope, love, not from a place of insecurity and fear. And when I make these choices from these states of hope, faith, and love, I notice there's a different outcome that brings me relief. And I realize that our financial situation is totally okay. We're going to be okay. You know, whereas if I chose to spiral down into insecurity and then worry and then start thinking that my past is coming back to haunt me, or like, oh, I'm helpless, what do I do? You know, if I did that, then, you know, there's the potential to become anxious and depressed. Well, anxiety would already be there, but depressed. And when you're in depression, you become frozen. It's hard to make any kind of decision because you feel very lethargic and mentally lethargic, and you don't want to do anything. You don't feel motivated, inspired. You don't want to work on anything. And so you just kind of let go of everything and give up. You let go, but in a way that's not the sense of I let go and trust. You literally just let go as in fuck it all. I just give up. I don't care. And, you know, and that leads me to the last thing I want to mention, is that I also noticed that while Venus is bringing up these themes of money, that even though I feel stuff that was coming up from the past, and transmuting that, and then allowing myself to have a little bit of space. Him barking is so annoying sometimes. And when I allow myself the space to just freak out a little bit, just to feel the emotions right and get it out my system, then I calm down, and then I go, anyways, you know what? This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and now I'm also going to make sure I focus on my projects, which is my YouTube, my website, the podcast. And so the birds just got loud again. So that's why I started the video by saying I believe in what I am doing, so I'm going to make this video. You know, I love what I do. I freaking love it. I had a friend recently say some things to me that really hurt my feelings, and it really showed me that she really doesn't even know. Never mind. She doesn't really know what I do, or at least she doesn't pay attention to what I do. And the things that she was saying to me was so discouraging. It wasn't encouraging at all to help me feel like everything will be okay and that everything will be provided or that I know how to handle it. It felt more like being scolded, like someone being a bit condescending, or it really felt like it came from a place of not knowing. And when you don't know something, that is ignorance, when you lack the knowledge of something. And so in this instance, she is ignorant of the work I'm doing. I'm not calling her ignorant. I'm saying that she lacks the awareness. That's a better way to put it. She lacks the awareness of the spiritual work that I do. And so she was not encouraging me to continue on what I'm doing, and instead was trying to drill into me that I need to be focusing on the matrix, basically. And that didn't sit right here, you know, because I know there needs to be a balance, but I don't want to stop what I'm doing, because I am feeling that push more and more and more to do what I'm supposed to do in my projects. And so I've been focusing more on the podcast and making more videos and doing this from here, my heart, and knowing that I will be supported, that it truly resonates with souls out there, and that I will receive support. You know, I am putting out into the universe, and I am open to receive. So I hope there is this reciprocal action of energy. And of course, also, you know, my website is up, and so you can see all the information about me and the healing services I provide, and all kinds of stuff that I've written. So stuff is there too. And there's space and opportunity for people to I don't want to use the word donate, but I guess, yeah, to give a love donation, to give of the heart to my cause and to my work. That's through PayPal. And if there's any other way that a person can give a love donation, let me know, because technology is constantly changing, and so that's a bit overwhelming. PayPal has just been very reliable, and I've had it since I was in college. I know there's all kinds of other stuff, so if you know of it and want to suggest it, let me know, and I'll sign up for it so that I can open myself up to receive love donations through those platforms as well. The last thing I want to mention is that like I said, with technology, I forget that when you subscribe, now you have to click on the little bell notification, the little bell symbol, to receive notifications when someone has published new content. So I just wanted to give you a reminder that if you are already subscribed to my channel and would like to make sure that you receive notifications, go ahead and click that bell, that little bell symbol, so that you can receive those notifications. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Hi, and thank you for being here. And make sure to click that bell so you can also be notified. That'll be real cool. Hopefully YouTube will open up the opportunity for me to start using that discussion post feature on there, so I can actually engage with you all more in that format. Until then, I'll just be continuing to make videos and replying in comments and things like that. But that's all I had to share today. And my butterfly friend, she like flipped over and she's like laying on the leaves. It looks like she's resting. So I'll let her be. And I hope this resonated with those who is meant to resonate with. As always, I know that's how it works. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that the resources I provide can help you if you are feeling things and going through stuff. So I wish you well on your journey and on this transition from summer into autumn. We're going into a much different phase, and you can feel it in the air, you can feel it in the weather, and in the energy, and within the body. So with that, namaste, mitakoe o yasin, aloha nui.